Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
So today we're going to talk about faith healers in Ireland. We're going to look at some very ancient ones, and we're also going to look at some modern ones that are some of them are still practicing. So we'll start off before Christianity, Ireland's druids and wise men were linked to sacred wells, herbs, and charms. Many wells later became Christian shrines, such as St. Brigid's Well, St. Declan's Well, which still attracts pilgrims today for cures. So St. Brigid of Kildare, one of Ireland's patron saints, revered for miraculous cures and holy wells dedicated to her. Are you aware of this lady?
I am. Yeah, she has a place up in Falkirk, in County Louth, where there's a memorial to her. Or, she's revered there, and there are often periods in time when there's a big congregation gather in the church in a place called Faughtert, Falkirk.
hmm
I was in it. Yeah,
Oh, very good.
it's a very nice.
What about St. Columba?
Yeah, in Kells you have got St. Columba's Well, which I brought anybody visiting. I brought them down. I think did I bring you down to see St. Columba's
I
Well,
think you
and
did.
I did, and you can dip your feet in that. And did I bring you up to the little St. Columkills little church up in it's like real ancient, and I visited that, and I sat and made a prayer, for what we're at, and I think I'd often listen to. A prayer is a great way of dealing with issues as well.
Now,
But the holy wells, you were talking about the people that have cures.
Saint Declan of
Yeah.
Ardmore, 5th century, associated with healing waters and wells, still venerated in County Waterford. Have you heard of him?
Oh, I have St. Declan, yeah. That's down Waterford Way, and it's reputed that I think he came before St. Patrick down that way. So he planted a Catholic faith there. But I have a neighbour that is a seventh son. When I say seventh son, a seventh son, if he's born, when his father is born after his father dies, that's when they have the cure.
Oh, okay. So seventh
Uh,
son of a seventh son, and then but the father has to
No,
die.
a seventh son. No, no, not the seventh son of himself. That's going but for the seventh son. And if the father dies before he's born, he has a cure. And one beside me has the cure of thrush. And I
Okay,
often see cars going thrush, which is can happen to young children and people.
I know.
And he has a cure of that. And my late wife, Julie, her sister Philomena, born she was born after the father died, and she had the cure of thrush as well. But people used to come at 2 o'clock in the morning, so she had to stop it and only do it here,
Oh, okay,
this civilized hour. Yeah.
okay. So we're going to move on to a woman that I've heard of since I was a child, and she lived from 1798 to 1874 in County Clare. Her name is Biddy Early. She's Ireland's most famous wise woman, known for her mysterious blue bottle, which locals believe gave her supernatural powers to heal. She treated the sick with herbs, charms, and prayers. Though condemned by priests and accused of witchcraft, people travelled from across Ireland to seek her help. Well, if she was accused of witchcraft, she must have been doing some serious work, I think.
Well, you see, the trouble is that the powers that be have a habit of doing that, and yet people go to the person, and I mean, to accuse a person of that is a very serious allegation to make, and they may have made it without actually visiting the person and talking to them. And to me, that's outrageous. I just give you an example of what the authorities can do. Saint Padre Pio is venerated now in the religion, and he cured people quite a lot. Saint Padre Pio, but he was the powers that be in Rome. Two cardinals kind of condemned him, and the Pope then he couldn't say mass publicly. He was banned for years until some Pope then reinstated him. But you can see the sort of stupidity that some of these people have, condemning people without actually visiting them and experiencing them. So I have a very, how would I call it? Not a very good view of people that condemn people and call them witches without any evidence when they have cures. The people and people appreciate getting cured, and to do a thing like that is abominable. To call
Now,
a person
the
like that.
next person, by the way, anybody who's listening to this, you can read about all these people in the description of this video. Anyway, so the next person up, Valentine Greatrakes, born 1628, died 1683, County Waterford, nicknamed humorously the Stroker, a former Cromwellian Aurelian soldier who declared in 1662 that God had given him the gift of healing. He claimed to cure skin diseases and even possession by stroking his hands over patients. His fame reached England, where he demonstrated before King Charles II and the Royal Society. Controversial but charismatic, he became one of the best documented early modern Irish healers.
Well, the funny thing is, he must have become a Catholic because if he was anything to do with, did you say Cromwell?
Oh, yeah, yeah, he was a former soldier.
Oh, well, that was the greatest scoundrel that ever hit shoe leather, as far as this country was concerned. He's
Okay,
regarded as a patriot across the water, but I wouldn't mind what they think about Anthem.
okay,
If they regard him as a patriot, they need their head examined.
okay.
He'd want to see what he did here. So when I hear anybody associated with that, I immediately get red in the face and vexed. The fact of the matter is that this man must have converted to be a Catholic, but of course that wasn't made public because at that time Catholics couldn't get an education or get anything. So
Okay.
I don't know what he was that he had these cures,
We will move on
but
to Yeah, we will move on to Ellen Duncan, Nellie of Callan, 19th century County Kilkenny, a folk healer remembered for her prayers and cures, often blending Catholic devotion with traditional remedies. Locals turned to her for ailments when doctors were scarce or unaffordable. So she was helping the poor.
yeah, but there you are. So she was doing a lot of good and curing them of things, of various things and that, because the poor we always have with us to say, but the poor them times was really poor. And really, in the 50s, when I was growing up, there was poverty. It didn't matter if your father had what would appear to be a good job. The pay was fucking abysmal. nine
Okay,
pound a week, and
£9 a
with a
week.
family. Can you imagine? And
Yeah,
getting it monthly, which made it even worse. Monthly, and then on a 5 week month, I got 45 pound. And but you could buy things like that, but you certainly couldn't afford any luxuries
that's
in
it.
that sense, you know. But
So
we go on.
I
We're
want to move
talking about.
on to 20th century healers. We were talking earlier on about Danny Gallagher. We've done videos on him before, okay? And you were saying that Gallagher is a good Donegal name. So a respected
It
healer
is.
in the mid late 20th century, remembered for laying on the hands and prayer-based cures. His reputation spread across rural Ireland, where faith healing traditions remain strong. So there's Danny.
I'd love to have. I wonder what part of Donegal did he operate in. When I'm up that neck of the woods, I'd be inquiring about him. I probably did before because Gallagher is a very popular name there. There was even a Gallagher's hotel that I stayed in. There was two hotels beside one another. Don't know if they're still trading, but I remember staying in it, and it was just a nice hotel. I remember staying there one time when this troubled bloody Sunday in Derry, and there was officers there. It looked as if there was going to be the Irish government was going to do Jack Lynch's Taoiseach. It was going to do something about alleviating the what was happening with the people in Derry. It looked like they were going to invade, but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
next
but
up is
that just Gallagher, yeah,
yes,
Donegal.
Tommy O'Connor from my county, County Kerry, famous for his cures for shingles and burns, blending folk remedies with spiritual faith. His name still lingers in
That was good.
Kerry folklore.
But burdens, but that could be serious. And what else did you say? Burdens
Shingles.
and figures, and that's a serious thing. Some people get it. My sister got it, and I never caught it. But I know, and it's it can be a very debilitating sort of a thing. And I remember where I was somewhere when I was doing the insurance, a lady got it, and funny enough, another man got it in the same road, a nice purchase type houses and shingles, and I hope they heard about a cure. I think the lady was from the north of Ireland, and I think she heard some, and I think she might have got a cure.
This is it. And then we move on to the modern faith healers. Brendan Smith, County Cavan, known as the Cavan healer, active in the late 20th century. Crowds travelled to see him for cures with reports of miraculous healings from prayer. Here's another man. And then we have Joe Coleman in Dublin, came to prominence in the 2000s, um, in the noughties, with claims of Marian visions at Knock Shrine. He continues to be associated with healing prayers and spiritual gatherings. Brother David in Dublin, a Catholic charismatic healer, active in Dublin's prayer groups, known for laying of the hands. Sean Mulhern, an Irish charismatic healer linked with Pentecostal evangelical movements, offering public prayer healing services. So there's quite a few there. There's quite a culture of healing, even right up to today, and it's quite inspiring. To you know.
It is, and the laying on of hands is a very important ingredient. That sort of people that have that gift can often heal people that are suffering from perhaps anxiety and various other things, and it lifts it. The Holy Spirit comes on them, and then suddenly they're whistling. You know where you are because whatever is rotten is lifted. And here's another thing that is a very important ingredient in the healing. That's the priests that are exorcists. In other words, people or other people that are possessed because they've gone down the wrong road and it's become possessed, and it can be very serious. And an exorcist is often called in, and with prayers primarily and the crucifix, they're able to heal that person. And it's often demonstrated on some television programs or whatever, and not maybe television as such. It wouldn't be on the main media. It might see it on a particular thing, and they can do that, and that's a great healing process as well. Although I don't know whether it was in vogue years ago, but that's what people, because in modern times people are indulging in different practices, and it's quite dangerous,
Now I'm going
and
to tell you.
oftentimes,
I'm going to tell you. So you mentioned there the laying of the hands, and I have
yeah,
seen and witnessed something myself. So I had two Labradors, as you know, and one of the Labradors anyway, he got cancer of the leg, and
yeah.
a friend of mine is a Reiki healer, and so he doesn't touch the person or the dog. Okay, he lays the hands on top of them. Now, this cancer lump it was the size of a small orange. Okay.
Well, that was big.
Oh, it was big. And when my friend laid his hands over him, the actual lump got smaller within 2 to 3 days, and it was gone down to half the size. I was absolutely amazed, okay, that he had
Yeah.
this.
Did it disappear altogether?
No, and it went down after the healing, okay, after a healing session, which lasted about probably 20 minutes. It went down in size to half the size within 2 to 3 days, and it stayed like that for about 4 to 5 weeks. And then it came back and it went all over his body, and unfortunately, the poor dog died.
God, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
God help. Well, there you are. But dogs can occupy a lot of your time. And it's a companion as well. But it means that your time is kind of limited. I see a lot of people with dogs going around here where I live, and sometimes they've two, and all sizes, little small squishy things. You wouldn't see them. You think it was you wouldn't have thought it was. And then other ones with big dogs that'll give you the fruits, and different sorts. And all I can say is that they do take up your time. I don't be always at home here, and I don't wouldn't fancy bringing a dog with me wherever I'm going because if you've the dog in the car and you sit in it, you suddenly get up with full of hairs. Because there was a fellow one time that I was had to deal with, and because when I was going down in the passenger seat in the Volkswagen van, I was full of bloody hairs that got out. And I said, "What caused that?" And sure, he had a bloody dog. He had a dog, and it was always in the passenger seat, full of bloody hairs, which I wasn't too keen on, to be honest with you, because you nearly can't get them off. The only thing you can do is send it to the cleaners
The thing is, look,
to try and get rid of it.
if you're worried about dog hairs, you shouldn't have a dog. That's the answer.
Correct, I suppose. Yeah, well, no, it's not that I'm worried about it, but I don't like it.
You don't like John
Full
Malone.
stop. And there's nothing to do with worry. It's just that I prefer not to have hairs on my person from an animal. And then they often
Right.
have a habit of sitting on chairs. And now when I know people that have cats, they're sitting on chairs, and you don't know what you're going to pick up when you're sitting down.
No,
You see what
there
I
we
mean?
go.
So I think animals are good in their own way, but
But John Malone, if you picked up any kind of infection from an animal, you always have the option of going to the holy well to be cured.
right, yeah. Well, you'd be really pleased to go into a dog if you had the misfortune to be dogs knocking around and you're sitting in cars, the dogs was in. So thank God that that hasn't happened to me for donkey's years, or for a good few years. And so I'm as happy as Larry is, a fellow says, going about without having to get hairs from cats or dogs.
John Malone, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alan.